Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you are having a fantastic day. This is actually the third in-depth candle review that I am sharing here on my channel today. So if you missed the first two reviews and you happen to be interested in them, check out the description box right below this video here. I'll go ahead and link the videos. I reviewed Bath & Body Works Freshly Brewed Coffee, and then also shared my thoughts regarding the new Kringle candle Yuzu and Sage fragrance. Yuzu and Sage is new for spring-summer 2025, as is the Kringle Sea Salt and Bergamot, which is obviously what we are going to tackle in this video here. So like I said, if you're interested in either of those other two reviews and you didn't catch them yet, I'll have them linked in the description box down below. If you are new to my channel and you're interested in more of my in-depth home fragrance reviews or candle hauls or weekly home fragrance roundup, make sure to hit that subscribe button before checking out of today's video. That way all of my future content will pop up in your subscription feed. So you guys, I have decided to share my reviews with these new spring-summer releases from Kringle Candle in order of favorite to least favorite. So the fact that I am sharing this Sea Salt and Bergamot fragrance second tells you I really like this fragrance. Oh my gosh, you guys. There was definitely a time where I would have stuck my nose in a fragrance like this, which I'm going to categorize as a fresh, very clean, almost borderline, little bit of a soapy fragrance, but just overall very fresh, very clean, very invigorating fragrance, right? I used to smell scents like this and just go, absolutely not. This is just not for me. It's nice, but you know, it's not something that I gravitate towards. I'm really fortunate in that in the last 2 years, my nose has really started to change. And I have definitely found myself embracing scents that in the past I would have never even considered. And I'm very grateful for that because honestly, scents like this they're really great for a reset in your house. So as we are heading into spring and summer and you are maybe looking to lighten things up, kind of freshen your home up a little bit, something like this is going to give you the perfect ambiance for that reset vibe. So per usual, let's go ahead and dive into this review. I'm going to read through the scent description. I will read through the in-depth fragrance notes. I will then tell you what my nose predominantly smells in this scent, kind of give you a vibe of what you're going to get here. Then we'll discuss strength and throw, and then if there were any burn issues. So as you can see, I have now burned this candle at least a third of the way down. We've got a nice deep wax pool going there right now. So this candle is kind of primed to be reviewed right now. It is filling this entire room. It is spilling out into the entryway, and I also have the Yuzu and Sage burning at the same time in the entryway. I can tell you these candles go really well together. So if you happen to pick up both, I think you should try pairing them because that's been a good experience for me. All right, Sea Salt and Bergamot. This fragrance opens with a bright and zesty burst of bergamot, orange, and petitgrain, radiating crisp freshness. The heart blooms with a harmonious blend of neroli, lavender, and jasmine, accented with the herbal intrigue of basil for an elegant complexity. As it lingers, the base unfolds with the earthy richness of patchouli and the warmth of musk and the golden glow of amber. Okay, the top notes are bergamot, orange, and petitgrain. The mid notes are neroli, lavender, basil, and jasmine. And at the base, we have patchouli, musk, and amber. If you typically fear patchouli because your mind automatically goes to earthy, kind of dirty patchouli, That is not the type of patchouli you're getting here. I usually don't like to start at the base of the fragrance, but I know a lot of people just have immediate reactions to patchouli, and just keep an open mind until I finish describing what I smell here, because I think even if you have an aversion to patchouli, you might still want to give this one a chance. Now, you obviously don't have to buy it in this large format here that I have, which, by the way, I was kindly gifted by Kringle Candle. I am an ambassador or an affiliate with them, so I did receive this candle for free. All thoughts and opinions are still my own. But yeah, let me just go ahead and tell you that this is not the typical patchouli that I think most people are thinking of. It's much more perfumey. It definitely fits in well with the kind of freshness that you are getting in this scent. All right, let's start at the top though. The Bergamot. I feel like this go around with the spring and summer candles, Kringle went a little ham with both the Bergamot as well as the Neroli. It's mentioned in a number of these candles, but I think here, this is the type of Bergamot that I like. You get that nice kind of fresh but slightly masculine citrus note that Bergamot gives you, but it's also not super aggressive. It's not the star of the show. The orange definitely is something that tones that Bergamot down a little bit, as is that petitgrain note that you're smelling at the top. By the way, if you don't know what petitgrain is, let me give you a quick description here. So petitgrain is extracted from the leaves and twigs of the bitter orange tree. And the name translates into little grains. Now, the fragrance that you're going to get from petitgrain is typically described as green, woody, citrusy, and floral with a slight bitter edge. You do get that in this particular petitgrain oil that you're getting in this particular scent. There is a really interesting green happening here. It is definitely citrusy, which again ties in with that orange and that bergamot. It is a little bitter, but it's balanced out by everything else. So this is not an overly bitter scent. And again, I want to remind you, this is a fresh scent still. I feel like so far, definitely the bergamot and the orange would probably be considered fresh scents by most people, but I don't know that petitgrain necessarily would, but it's very much a fresh, really bright fragrance. In terms of the middle notes, the neroli is present in here. Now, the neroli definitely ties in with that petitgrain a little bit. It is not overly aggressive, and it's much more enjoyable in here than it comes across in the Country Candle Mandarin Petals. The neroli that they put in there is just, it's either too much or it is just not the best neroli oil that I've ever smelled. I typically enjoy that particular note, but in the Mandarin Petals, I'm having a tough time with it. This neroli here, very enjoyable, very soft, very pretty. Definitely a little bit perfumey though. I do not smell lavender in here, so good for me because I don't like lavender. So that's not saying that you won't smell the lavender, but my nose isn't picking it up, which to me makes me wonder if other people would also detect it, because I'm a little bit of a bloodhound when it comes to lavender. The one note that I was really hoping that would come out here when I have this one lit was the basil, because I couldn't really smell it on cold sniff, but I still don't smell it post burn, which is a little bit of a bummer because I do think adding just a touch of basil in here would make this fragrance maybe a little bit more complex and even more interesting. It's great as it is. It's fantastic the way that it is, but I do wish that I smelled that basil. However, I smell that clean, white, perfumey jasmine in here. I actually smell more of the jasmine than I do the neroli, and that's a good thing for me because I love jasmine, both in home fragrance as well as in personal fragrance. It interacts really well with my body chemistry when it comes to perfume, and it's just one of those floral notes that whenever I smell it, be it in personal fragrance or home fragrance, It just stands out to me as really pretty and soft and feminine, and it fits in perfectly with those citrus notes that are at the top of this one. Now, the base here with the patchouli, musk, and the amber. There is a slight muskiness to this scent, which I definitely, I don't think that it turns the fragrance to musty or musky smelling, if that makes sense. I think it's just kind of the perfect amount, and it does in a way support the other fragrance notes. The patchouli is a very pretty perfumey patchouli. There's not too much of it. If you have smelled other Kringle fragrances in the past that have had that perfumey patchouli note, and you maybe thought, it's still a little too much patchouli for me, this I think has kind of the perfect amount. It's there, it's detectable, it adds depth, it adds a sophistication to the scent, but it doesn't take over the scent. It's really pretty, you guys, and if you're willing to give it a chance, at least in the daylight, I think you might actually enjoy patchouli in this particular format. Now, the amber is probably another one of my favorite parts of this scent. It is an amber note that Kringle uses quite a bit. It's a very warm, almost slightly sweet but resinous amber. Again, think more of a perfumey. And again, it adds depth to the fragrance. It just elevates it and makes it smell a lot more sophisticated. This is the type of fragrance that if I were lucky enough to own a beach house, that is one of my husband and I's like goal one day, is to own a beach house at the Oregon beach. This is the type of fragrance that I would burn at my imaginary beach house. Like, this is what I would want to smell when I walk in the door from a morning walk on the beach. Like, it's just so fresh. It's so clean. It's not necessarily a beachy scent, but I just think it would be so perfect in a beach house setting. It just smells incredibly fresh. And again, it gives me those spring reset vibes that I'm just really into right now. I actually already this morning, we're like in the 50s here today in Oregon, but I've already opened my windows for an hour this morning to air everything out. I've been doing that on any day where it hasn't been like below 40 degrees. And I just get the fresh air going. And then when I light something like this immediately after, it just makes me feel like my house is clean. Even though my floors desperately need to be mopped, my house smells clean. It puts me in the mood to actually grab the mop and to, tackle this project that I'm honestly staring at right now from behind the camera. But yeah, you guys, this is a great scent. I adore this. I think a lot of you guys who are into this fresh category would really enjoy this one. I mentioned that this smells just a little bit soapy to my nose. I'm not sure where the soapiness is coming from. My best guess is that even though I'm not smelling lavender, it might be that lavender oil, which I'm oddly not detecting here, that is maybe giving it a little bit of a soapy vibe. There's a lot of times where lavender will come off as soapy to my nose. So I'm guessing that's where that's coming from, but I don't want to imply that this is like sticking your nose into a bar of soap. It's a lot more sophisticated than that, but there is just a slight hint of that clean soapiness here as well. Strength and throw. Listen, great strength and throw here. It has been solid from the get-go. There has been no roller coaster ride. This is a solid 7.5 in terms of strength and throw. This is darn near filling the bulk of the downstairs of my house. It mingles really well, like I said, with the yuzu and sage. But for the 2-wick size here, this is a solid medium plus, I would say, performance. And it's really enjoyable. I don't think it's headache inducing. I don't think it's too much. But I also think it's one of those fragrances that might be a little overwhelming in a smaller space. So maybe keep that in mind. Once again, if you're at all hesitant about this one, please check out the Daylight first. Please check out the wax melts. I think that that is probably a better thing than diving in head first with the large size if you're at all unsure about this one. I've already kind of shown you the side here, so you've seen that this has had a fantastic performance so far, but I'll go ahead and turn the candle again. You can see this wax pool here is nice and deep. Those flames are beautifully tall. This does not form huge mushroom tops. You get like a little tiny nub at the top essentially. And I just clip off that very top nub with my cuticle scissors. I have some dedicated cuticle scissors to trim wicks that I like to be a little bit more careful with. I have one too many times used my old Yankee Candle wick trimmer and taken off way too much with these Kringle candles, so I just try to stick my hand in there and use my cuticle scissors as much as possible. But yeah, no discoloration at all in this wax. There is no sooting, and listen, I have had this one lit for as long as 7 hours, and look at this. This is, let's see. It's a little warm, but I'm gonna see if I can just do a little wipe here to see if there's any discoloration that really comes off. There's a little, you can see a little tiny bit of discoloration there, but that's not bad at all for the amount of hours that I have burned this candle. I mean, this has been going, like I said, 7, I bet one day I even burned it for like 8, but look at how clean that is for burning it that long. This is why I love the Kringle soy formulation. I don't have to babysit these candles. So if you are looking for candles that you don't have to babysit, I would highly recommend checking out the Kringle soy formulation. I think it's just a really fantastic wax. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the sea salt and bergamot. I really like this one. It's definitely my second favorite out of the entire lineup. If you have already received some of these new scents, if you ordered them at the launch, leave your thoughts regarding this one in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe if you're new. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. And I will see you guys for another round of in-depth candle reviews a little bit later on this week. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Toodaloo.